Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. How is everyone doing? I can't believe the last solo episode you guys got from me was Easter Sunday. It feels like it was like a month ago. Even though I was here with the hobby chop on Tuesday, I don't know. It just felt like it's been so long since I dropped an episode, or a solo one, anyways. I had the whole weekend off last weekend. I want to say from the hobby, but it wasn't from the hobby. It was just from going to shows, because you can never, no matter where you are, what you're doing, you're in there buying cards on eBay and Marketplace and Facebook groups. All I could say is I just didn't go to a show last weekend. Today was my first day back to a show, set up at the Danbury show here in Connecticut, and I'll recap that in just a few minutes. But earlier in the week, thinking about getting ready for this show, and then knowing the following week I had the Causeway show, and then 2 weeks after that I have a show in Bristol, Connecticut. It's the end of the month, and then a couple more weeks into June I had the Mohegan Sun show. So there's a lot of big shows coming back to back to back, and just trying to figure out a way as I put a plan together that will help me for all the shows, where a lot of times I've been, because I know the show, I say, know the show, and I say, this show is like this and that show is like that. So I seem to be preparing individually for each show, and then starting to say, well, I've got these big shows all coming up over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe I can do something to prepare for all of them, right? So, every show is not going to be the same, but I think during this time of year in the hobby, the same inventory is going to work at all the shows. The singles boxes, they have football in them. Everybody's going to be buying football out of there, right? So maybe some more selective stuff I kind of put aside. I prepare boxes that I know that are going to work well at every single one of these shows, right? So it's not this individual. And one of the biggest things is pricing, right? I mean, just because I'm always pricing things, and I'm so big on pricing things. And even when I go to shows and I see when people don't have things priced, I tend to walk away. I don't tend to engage. So I don't want to be the guy with no prices on my cards, right? But the market has been changing with prices so much, you just can't get away from it. But yeah, just trying to figure out how to put a plan together that'll help me with all these shows moving forward. And one place to start is with the inventory, but what inventory? I received a number of orders back from PSA over the last few weeks, Don Russ and Prizm football. I got a good number of PSA 10s. You get super excited about the 10s. I mean, it's like the report card, right? When you're taking a test and you're sending it in and you're waiting for the grade to come back. And that's basically what it is. But not so excited when I look at, recent sales and recent comps on these cards. And then I start looking at the pop counts, and I know why PSA has been delayed by with why they've been delayed with everyone's orders. I think they're just inundated with grading, but I think they're grading a ton of ultra modern stuff, all this stuff, just like I'm doing. Anything from Prizm that looks good, anything from the Don Russ that looked good, sending it in, hoping hoping to gem, and I think the cards being in the quality control being so bad on so many of these cards. I mean, we're all just hoping for the best, and it's whoever the lucky one is going to get, some tens on some of these higher end cards. Is going to do well, but it seems like the lower end cards are the ones that are gemming, and the higher none of the higher end cards are, right? So they were all sitting on a bunch of Don Russ cards that graded well this year, and they're all tens. And then you look at the online sales, you're on eBay, and they're just flooded. The market's just flooded with these cards listed for sale. And in my mind, I'm looking at it, I'm like, they're selling lower than I feel they should be selling. But I don't think a lot of that product is what I want to go out and buy and hope that they go up. But I'm sitting on this product. I'm sitting on these cars. Now what do I do? Right? I know it's to be expected this time of year. This is the end of the dip in the football market. So getting ready for the show today, I decided, you know what? I'm not gonna go through and price every football card. I'm just gonna leave them home. I'm gonna leave them back in the office today. I have plenty of singles boxes. I filled up. I had 2 tables, 2 6-foot tables today. So I 1 6-foot table, just all singles boxes. Um, I had plenty of WNBA cards, plenty of Bowman U cards, and hockey cards. Yes, I said it, hockey cards, to go in my cases. I dug out some cards that I had stashed for a while. I had some Ovechkin cards. I have rookies from 2020, 21, 22, 23 that I've just left in boxes on the shelves, and I'm like, it might be a good time. We're in the hockey playoffs. Went through, figured out, prices on all of them, priced the cards, and I had some in singles boxes, I had some in the case, and they sold well today. I did about as well as to be expected. I'm going to say that, with no football in my case. But I can't say the people who did well today. uh, I said that wrong. I can say the people who did well today were selling football. Uh, my singles boxes of football did very well. And I think for the most part, what I'm saying is not anything different than what people are thinking right now, because I'm walking around the room and I'm looking in people's, cases, and I'm not seeing any high end football in anybody's cases. If I do, they're very high priced. They're not priced at market price by any means. Uh, and in a case like for me today, right? I'm like, I'm not going to bring football, but I'm going to look around. I'm going to see if I can buy some, if I can find some decent football below current comps. It could be a buy depending on what they are. Uh, and I did buy a couple cards. Some of the cards and I talked about these a bunch of times. These Don Russ Optic Preview Red Pandora. They came in the Costco exclusive boxes, and I just keep buying them in PSA 10s. So I picked up the Caleb Williams on YouTube. I'm just going to flash that up there, and the Marvin Harrison Jr. I keep buying. I know these cards grade well because I've sent a number of them out, and they all came back 10s. I look at the pop counts. The pop counts are low on some of them. They're under 500. Mostly all of them under 1,000 on the pop count. So they're not crazy, and I think they were limited. I mean, I think I know Costco. They were Costco exclusives, and they had a decent print run. I'm sure they did. I mean, to fill every Costco across the U.S. and probably Canada if they're there too. So they probably had a decent print run, but they sold out quickly. And now you see people like as every now and then I see at the shows, they have these Costco, those boxes that have the giant downtowns in them, and they're selling for like 3 or 4 times what they were retail when they came out. Why are they selling that? I mean, I think the people think that the cards in them are probably less printed than all the other stuff. I kind of feel the same way. I've been saying this a while, so when I see these cards, I always think they're a buy. If I find them in a 10, I just keep buying them and hold them. At some point, there'll be a sell, but right now, I still think they're a buy. Um, but I think most people, like for me, I talked to a lot of the dealers in the room today, and a lot of them felt the same way. It's like today's a good day to move inventory. Like this is a good time of year to move inventory. Doesn't matter what it is, just move it. Like it's a, you heard the term spring cleaning, and I think a lot of people felt the same way. Where they're like, I don't think people are going to be buying this, or even if I price this at that. But you know what? I've got all these cards here, these low end slabs, the this, the that. Let's put them out there. Let's see what we can do, what we can get on those. And I kind of felt the same way. I felt the same way. Couple people I know that showed up to the show that were selling what they had, they felt the same way too. Like it gets to a point where you're like, I've got all these cards, maybe I could just get rid of them and then move all that into one nicer card or a couple nicer cards, or just turn it into cash, right? Um, I've been working in my, remodeling my office here, and I can't believe all the cards I've accumulated. I mean, it's just an insane amount of cards, and I'm like, it, and I say, "Oh, I'm gonna sell this time of year. I'm gonna sell that time of year, and this I'm holding for that, and this I'm holding for that." And then some of them I've held and I put out, and they didn't sell, and I pulled back and I put back on the shelf, and I've taken out at a different time, and I take back, I put on the shelf. I'm like, "Oh, I just gotta move these things." So I've been doing a lot with these cards. I've been sending them out, to I send a bunch of cards to PC Sports Cards. Just let them uh, um, sell the cards, for me. They're putting them on eBay, doing all that, just so. And they're nothing great. I mean, they're not great cards. It's just cards that I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be bothered putting them on eBay and packaging and shipping and all that stuff. I put a couple things together with 20, 25 cards, send them out to them. Two of the auctions have already ended, and I've done pretty well. I mean, I'm not upset at all at how it's worked out for me, especially this time of year, and especially with cards that I know that I'm probably gonna, if I sell at a show, they're probably gonna sell it cheaper than what they sold them for online. Um, so as part of my office transformation, right, I'm sending these cards out, and I say, okay, I'm just gonna put that towards the budget, to redo the office, because they're not doing me any good sitting on a shelf here in the office. Um, a lot of the football that I've accumulated here, which I've been doing all year long, just I hoping to get a booth at the National this year, that I would bring it all out there to sell, right? I'm on the wait list. I'm very close to getting a call, but it may not happen this year. If it doesn't, I did, however, just book a table for the West Coast Card Show in Burbank this year in August. So if the getting the space at the National does not work out this year, I'll bring those cards to the Burbank show in August. Still an amazing show, a huge show where football will be the prime, sport people are buying. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried that I've been collecting and collecting and collecting. And a lot of people I know who do have booths in at the National, they do that. They start creating boxes, and all year, that's all they do. They just fill these boxes, and that one time a year they fill those tables up with those boxes. They do very well, and I'm hoping to do the same thing. If I don't get out to the National this year, I'm almost guaranteed next year I'll have a booth out there. So super excited about that. As far as the ultra modern football that I'm holding right now, the Donruss, the Prizm, the Optic, I'm thinking the end of this month, the beginning of next month is probably the best time to start putting that stuff back out in the case and start selling it. My mailbox has been inundated lately with Panini redemptions. I had visions of white and black boxes in my head at the National this year, going out to exchange those redemptions for boxes. And no, sir, not this year. Not in my house. They've been fulfilling all my redemptions. All my Joe Milton autos have arrived, including this whole pile of the no huddle Prizm, and I'm just flashing 3 out of the 6 that I got back from them. And I have a number. I probably have about 6 more redemptions out there right now. Michael Penix Jr. and somebody else. I can't think offhand, but I'm sure those are going to be fulfilled within the next month or so. And I know I did hear somewhere that they're trying to fulfill all those redemptions to not have this thing happen at the National every year where people are trading out their redemptions for boxes. And someone asked me with the Joe Milton, hey, what's the play on these cards? Your guess is as good as mine. But for me, it's just have them ready to sell at a moment's notice. I can't see a world where Dak is not starting, the season with Dallas. And I don't know where Joe Milton, if even if he's the backup or the third string, I don't know where he's going to be. It was definitely a prospect play on my part. So I feel probably have between now and August, if I want to grade any of these, to grade them or whatever I'm going to do. But just be ready to sell these cards. If there's any market news, if anything changes, if it could be bad news too, right? They could say, oh, he's third string or worse on the practice squad. Like, we have no idea. We have no idea what's going to happen. I'm hoping for the best. Now that I have all these cards, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping something good is going to come out of it. I think he's a talented kid, so we'll see what happens. It feels like Optic is ruining the case hit game with these uptowns, downtowns, and dual towns, and I can't believe how many of these cars are being pulled. They're being pulled more than a Prizm hollow out of the Optic boxes, and we're seeing the price, the market, the prices are just dropping on those, because more and more are just coming up for sale. And when the dust settles, not sure where these uptowns are going to be. Will they be in any category for the downtown, or will they just be another common insert? I mean, I have no idea. I just can't believe how many. I mean, I only opened up a few boxes. I got a Caleb Williams. If you're on YouTube, I'm holding this up. Caleb Williams, Uptown. I got Jayden Daniels, Uptown. Did get a Kurt Warner downtown. And I can't say, who am I kidding? Y'all know I didn't pull them. I bring the boxes home and Sherry pulls these out. It's like, if I want to get anything, I just tell her, just open these boxes, right? We could use a big card today. I just don't think in the long run these things are going to hold much value, just because so many are being pulled. Even with the Optic, here's an interesting thing. So I pulled up some prices here. The Jayden Daniels, the Optic Prizm, the hollow, Yes, I'm holding one up. Pulled one of those too. Selling between $80 and $120. Um, Drake May, Silver Prizm. Yes, holding one of those up. Pulled one of these too. Selling for under $100. These are hit cards. These are chase cards. And they're only slightly more than the cost of the box they came out of. I mean, in previous years of a starting quarter rookie quarterback, Prizm, you know, they definitely did a little better than what these are selling for right now. I mean, not a whole lot more. I know that, but I mean, we're talking Drake May, Silver Prizm, under $100. When I pulled that card, I'm like, this is a hit card, and I'm expecting, to be excited about what the value of this card is. You see, this card is sitting here, right? Um, I just don't know how much value these cards are going to hold. Like, are they going to go up? How much can they go up between now and June, July, August? And people are asking, why aren't you grading them? Well, if they come back a 9, I'm basically losing money on it. If they don't gem, I'm basically losing money on it, or maybe breaking even. I know I should be used to it by now, right? It's just, but it just makes me shake my head, right? Circle back, to these cards that the ones that I got from PSA that did gem, and the current comps, the reward is not rewarding, right? I said it's like taking a test and sending it in and coming back. You want to be excited about the 10. You feel you should be rewarded. The actual profit made in today's market, is it really worth the risk right now? I mean, even for these cards that are getting 10s, I don't think the risk was probably worth it on some of these cards. But hopefully in next month's market, in July, in August, hopefully they become more rewarding. Hopefully I say, yeah, I did a great job. I thought, put them aside, wait till they double up in price or come up 20, 30, 40, 50%, and then move them. Happy about it. But who knows? It could go the other way too. It could be less. The market could be so inundated, right? Everyone getting all these cards back from PSA, that I could look back at this episode and say, man, you were wrong. I lost even more money on them. I should have sold them back at the beginning of May when I had the chance, when people were actually buying them. I don't think so, but you know what? There's always that possibility. I pulled up some other interesting numbers for you. I'm just getting them up here on the screen for me. Jayden Daniels, Silver Prizm, raw, currently selling for $180 to $215. PSA 10 selling between $1,100 and $1,200. Pop $191. And I would say he is should be the highest selling market-wise football quarterbacks in 2020 for a 2024 rookie. Now, Caitlin Clark, raw, selling $220 to $300 compared to Jayden Daniels, $180 to $215. PSA 10 selling between $2,300 and $2,700. There was one sale today, May 4th, for $5K. $5K, $2,300, $2,700. The pop count on that card, 33. So I know there's 160 or so difference between the two and the pop count. which drives Caitlin's sale higher. I understand that, but still, it's just interesting. Looking at these prices and where they're at compared to two different markets, from football to WNBA, and comparing Jayden to Caitlin. Such a big difference, not only in price, but in pop count. So as I said earlier, I did the Bill and Billy's Danbury show today. The show was as expected. I've done this show a number of times. Small show, good foot traffic. A lot of people looking for singles, digging through boxes. That's why I said earlier I set up a whole 6-foot table. I pulled as many boxes out, got them set up and ready, not only to bring there, but now I have boxes prepared to bring next week to Causeway. A lot of people digging through these boxes. Low end slabs. That was another thing I saw selling today. Great thing about this show, family oriented. It's nice to see when mom and dad and kids, they all show up together, walk the show. And I'm not just saying like one family or two. This show probably have more sets of family that come through this show than I've seen at any of the other local shows. Not saying I don't see families at other local shows, but this show, just a ton of families come through, and it's always good to see. 9 a.m. start. It was a slow start in the morning, but solid traffic from 10 to 12:30. I mostly sold Caitlin Clark and Cooper Flag cards today. I sold out all my Cooper Flag cards. Everyone I had sold today. Interesting that people are like, oh, well, after, Duke got knocked out and, his market is terrible. And I kept saying to people, he's going to be the number one pick in the draft. How could his market be terrible? Showed up today, sold every Cooper Flag card I had in the case. So I don't think his market is as terrible as people think. And Caitlin Clark too. I have just a ton. I have Caitlin Clark cards for days. Like I could just keep backfilling cards of hers. And I'm happy to have that inventory because, she sells very well. I sold a ton of singles out of my boxes. Shout out to Jonathan at Homer Sports Cards. Made the drive down, came to visit, walked the show. My man Phil from here in Connecticut, he's a listener, came by to say hello, introduce himself and say hello. And Jonathan, basketball card guy, stopped by, say hello. It's a well-positioned show where it can draw people out of Southern Connecticut, right over the New York border into Westchester, as well as Central Connecticut. There are people that I see at the New Britain show that made the drive down to that show. So it's definitely well located. One of the goals for me today was to test out some new recording equipment. I plan on streaming live at the end of the month from the Bristol show. So I got some new equipment. I've been testing it out, trying to work out the kinks, figure that out. So when it comes time to use it, everything will run smooth. And hopefully moving forward, using some of it to create reels and shorts, from the shows, from recording live at shows for YouTube and Instagram, and hopefully be able to record some live podcasts at some of the bigger shows too. So it's a whole new lane for me, and I think it may work out well. I had, I didn't have as many problems as I thought I was going to have today. One major one with the audio, but I think I can work through that and figure that one out. So stay tuned. I had some big ideas. Next Saturday, I'm at the Causeway show, TD Center in Boston, setting up there with Tyler, Rich, Whittlebug Cards, and Bill from Bill and Billy. He will also be. I'm sorry, Billy, young Billy will be with us. Not Big Billy. Young Billy will be with us at that show. And I'll be back Thursday with the fellas with a brand new episode of the Hobby Chop. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.